What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training. And today we're going to be breaking down 5 secrets to route running that every single wide receiver should know. So I hope this video helps you guys out. I hope it can teach you a few new things. But also, fellas, if you're a wide receiver or any football player for that matter, and you want to start taking your recovery seriously, check out that very first link in the description below where you can get access to A&G Labs dietary supplements for protein powder and recovery BCAA powder. What these supplements can do is help you recover faster. They are NSF approved, so they're safe for sports. No banned substances for football players to get you in any kind of trouble, but they will help your body repair that broken down muscle tissue and help you be fresh, get better sleep so you can perform better on the next workout or at the next practice. So check out that very first link below. Use promo code FIRST15 to get 15% off any purchase on the website. Hope you guys could check that out. Let's get started. So now, first clip we're going to talk about here, first secret to route running is how you guys can use hand technique correctly against a press coverage DB. So we're looking at this router from DK Metcalf versus Okudah, and he does a great example of this hand swat to take an inside release and get separation. So a lot of times we talk about the feet, right? If you're familiar with this channel, we talk a lot about different releases, slide release, hesitation, hop, but what are you supposed to do with those hands? Now, the hand technique, the thing that a lot of people think is it's overcomplicated. So many wide receiver coaches spend so much time on the hands, they forget about the feet. I think the hands are just kind of like an add-on to the feet. You have to know if based on the release, what hand of the DB you need to beat, and then we need to keep it simple. So what Metcalf does here is he starts out, he does this little slide release, right? He slides to the outside, works off the platform. Now, this type of release, he could go either way, right? If Okudah jumps way to the outside, he's just going to put the brakes on and take the inside release. There's another clip in this game that happened earlier where he slid, Okudah stayed to the inside, and he beat him outside on the fade. So it's kind of like a reactionary release. It could go either way. But when it comes to your hand technique off the line, you need to understand that if you're taking an inside release to get off of press, all you have to do is beat his inside hand. If you want to take an outside release to get off of press, all you got to do is beat his outside hand. It's set up by the feet. We want to move him off the platform with my feet and then make him pay with my hands. So Okudah, what he does here is Metcalf does this like slide release. He's running a fade route. Okudah's just squeezing him to the sideline. He widens out. He's over anxious to jump. If he forces this release outside, he'll be right on that sideline. That's a horrible spot to be. So he takes the inside release. So to get off of the jam, to get off of the press when he takes the inside release, he has a very aggressive swat to the inside hand. He's not even worried about what this hand does. Like, let's say Okudah stayed a little bit more patient and stayed square and maybe was trying to get a two-hand jam. Trust me, fellas, when this DB's trying to wall you to the sideline, he is going to jam with this hand. If he's trying to wall you inside to his safety help, he's going to jam with this hand. All you got to worry about is which hand do I have to beat to take the release that I need to. Your separation does not happen off the line. DBs, especially at the NFL college level, have great recovery speed. Your separation comes at the top of the break. So when Metcalf does do this swat, this is where a lot of guys go wrong, is they don't know where to attack. You want to attack the point of control on a DB. So the point of control would be the back of the shoulder, back of the arm, or back of the elbow. I do not like slapping the wrist because I feel like that's a smaller part of a DB's arm, and it's easier for him to put the hand right back on you if you're slapping his wrist. So back of the arm, back of the elbow, back of the shoulder. Those are the places that I want to swat, and you see how aggressive he is, how violent he is with that hand technique, and that's what can make him pay. We get the DB off the platform with our feet. We make him pay with my hands to get up into the route. So the first secret, fellas, to route running that not a lot of people talk about is you have to understand the hand technique, what hand to beat, and keep things simple. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. Great job by Metcalf, noticing that he's going to squeeze him to the sideline, reacting and taking that inside release so he could win on that fade route. So now, second tip, second secret to route running that not a lot of people talk about is getting skinny and being able to use the field for the quarterback. So there's a clipper from Allen Robinson running a fade, and he gets this DB off the line. He gets him to jump to the inside, but what he does is he takes too wide of an angle on this goal line fade, which makes it a very, very challenging throw and allows the DB to recover. Okay, so let's play this thing full speed. So he does this kind of crossover release, does this move, gets the DB to hesitate, but he widens out just a little bit too far, which allows this DB to squeeze him to the sideline and get a hand on that thing. So anytime that you guys are running a fade ball, right, it doesn't even necessarily have to be a goal line fade. Let's just say it's a regular fade down the middle of the field. DB's press, let's say we're on like the 50-yard line. If I am running a fade and I got a DB who's inside shade, right? That's exactly where we want him to be. We could set him up with a move inside. That's what Allen Robinson does. He does a great kind of crossover, hezzy move, makes him miss with his upper half, stepping outside of his frame. That's a great job here. But when we get that DB to sit to the inside, we can't run away from him, because when you take a very wide angle, that DB has a better shot at recovering upfield, especially on a fade route. After I make this DB miss, I want to try to get hip to hip with him, aka getting skinny. Because let me tell you this, what a quarterback wants to do. On a fade route, a quarterback wants to have you be vertical and put the ball on your outside shoulder so you can fade with it. Same thing on a goal line fade. A quarterback doesn't throw a goal line fade with the thought process of, I'm just going to put this thing up there and he's going to win a jump ball. You know, maybe sometimes if he's getting it up very quick, it's going to be a jump ball. But if it's a goal line fade, 5-yard line, he's taught to put that thing to that back pylon, let you go run and get it against man coverage. But if I come off the ball, and let's say I got the DB to hesitate, but I take a very wide angle, I'm not giving the quarterback any place to fade me out. There's no space to the sideline because I am running to the sideline. Not only will this DB have a great recovery angle, but I'm cutting down the field space. What Robinson could have done a little bit better of a job here is when he does this crossover, maybe try to swat this hand, just like what we were talking about with his right hand. Get a little bit more vertical. I'm not saying he has to restack or anything, but get a little bit more vertical so when that QB does throw it, he has some space to fade us, whether it's a back shoulder, whether it's over the shoulder. But fellas, we have to get skinny and use all of the field, because when I just try to widen, this is exactly what's going to happen. You see the angle that Ward is able to take. He is able to take that angle. Imagine if instead of here, Robinson was here. He was pressing up vertical. DB was on his inside hip. He has all the space in the world to put that on his outside shoulder. But when we cut down the field and we're just running to that sideline, that's a hard play even if this guy's 2 yards behind. That's a tough throw for that QB. We have to give my quarterback space. Run a quarterback-friendly route. So second secret to route running, fellas, know how to get skinny and know how to use the field. Let's play this thing again, full speed. Hey, not a bad job with the release. I love the release. We just have to get skinny, give my QB space to throw me open. Okay, so now, next thing we're going to be talking about is how wide receivers can stop on a dime. This is a secret to route running that not a lot of old school wide receiver coaches teach, a lot of wide receiver coaches who maybe aren't, as informed, I guess you can say. But a lot of guys teach that like beat the drum method, right? Where you just like, I'm going to move my hands and my feet and I'm going to chop down as hard as I can, as fast as I can, take as many steps as possible. We do not want to do that. Because if you want to stop on a dime, you have to do something called snapping down. So let's play this thing full speed. So what Lazard does here is he does a great example of just dropping his weight and being able to stop on a dime. And you see what that does to the DB. DB's all turned around, thinking fade. We get him to slip because he has the correct technique. So when you guys are running a route, let's say he's kind of running, I don't even necessarily know what to call this route. It's almost like a corner post curl, if you will, I guess. I'm not even necessarily sure what to call this, but I'm sure it's a variation that they have in their playbook. But when we're running just a regular route, like a comeback, like a dig, a curl, a hitch route, you have to have this same type of hip mechanics. So when you guys drop into a break, on every single route, sometimes double moves are different, but on a route like a comeback, what are we trying to make the DB think I'm running? A fade, right? I'm trying to get him to open up his hips, turn and run with me so I could snap it down and slip under it. Now, when you're running this type of route, it's very easy to self-fade, but it's harder to self-fade and change direction quickly. So when he goes to change direction, you see how he's actually dropping at his hips and bringing that chin to his knee. So many wide receivers do not drop their butt. They do not snap down. They are not dropping their pad level. What they will do is they will get to here and they start to move their hands and move their feet as fast as they possibly can. Now, I think some people have a different definition of beat the drum. I'm not saying have your hands die. I'm saying just keep your hands natural. Keep your arms pumping. Just act like you're running in and then you're running out. Don't change up the arms because that's just wasted movement with your feet. If you want to stop on a dime, everybody loves to throw that phrase around. Oh, he's got to stop on a dime. You got to let your hips stop you on a dime. Your hip drop, you bring in your chin to your knee. That's what slows you down rather than you chopping your hands and your feet, just wasting time allowing this DB to recover. This DB does not slip if we take 8 seconds at this break point. If I go here and I start chopping my feet and I don't put the brakes on right now and I drift up field because I have some good speed, I'm chopping down, DB doesn't slip and fall. He's not forced to react fast enough. He's got all day to react to it. We take more steps and the DB takes less, he's going to win every single time. I'm not a big steps guy. I'm not the guy who's going to say you have to get out of a break in X amount of steps. We want to get out in the least amount of steps possible without sacrificing selling vertical. Let's play this thing again, full speed. So third secret to running routes is how you guys can stop on a dime is by trusting your hips and actually dropping your weight down, bringing that chin to knee. Okay, so now, last thing I want to talk about here that a lot of wide receivers ask us, one of the secrets to route running, last secret we're going to talk about, is how to run a fade ball versus zone coverage. So if you have a zone coverage look, fellas, you got a zone coverage DB who's off, and you have to run a fade. Let's say it's like cover 3, right? So we got a corner out here manned up, not so much manned up with you, but lined up head up on you. And then you got a free safety in the middle of the field. Everybody's got their deep thirds. This fade ball is a realistic ball that we could catch if we know how to run the route correctly. So we're going to show a bad example of this first, and then we're going to show a good example of this. So let's play at full speed. So this wide receiver comes out. DB starts to widen to the sideline because the wide receiver does not threaten him to the inside. And Diggs is able to make a great pick. So if we got a DB who's in zone, we know that there's something he has called a blind spot. And if I'm running a fade, I eventually want to get there, but I don't want to get there right away. Because that's technically the DB's leverage. When he's in cover 3, what's he trying to do? He's trying to force everything to the inside. Force it to my safety help. He has that free safety there. He is fine with us coming to the inside running a post because that free safety is there and this DB will be right on my hip. That's a very tough window for the QB. So what we would do, like let's say, for example, we have to run a post, is we would come off and we would attack his blind spot like this wide receiver is doing right now. Because look what Diggs is doing. He's widening. So if he breaks on the post, we got a bigger window. But when we have to run a fade, we can't do that. If we just go straight to the blind spot on a fade, that DB's just going to wall. He's just going to stack us and keep his leverage over the top because in cover 3, what's he taught not to do? Not to get beat deep. So we have to give him something inside instead of just running there. So what he probably should have done is he should have ran right at this DB's toes, go right at Diggs, give a head fake inside, a hard step, try to get him to crash, then let's slip behind to the blind spot. But when you just run, he's going to squeeze you. Your QB1 doesn't have any space. 2, DB's all over this thing. So let's play this full speed, and then we will show a good example of a fade route against zone coverage by using a move we call a vertical set. So what is a vertical set? So this is a clip here from, I believe this is Mooney. But again, we got a zone coverage DB. I wouldn't say he's like so much like outside shade. Yeah, he's a little bit outside shade, but he's more like head up zone, I would say. But watch how he plays this route. He comes out and he gives this hard head fake to the inside. But he doesn't just run straight to the blind spot because he knows he's got to give his QB space to throw him open. Where did we start this route? We started on the bottom of the numbers. QB is trying to put it between the numbers and the sideline. So he's trying to fade you out. This goes especially if you start at the top of the numbers. So what Mooney does is he doesn't just run straight around the guy. He doesn't just go straight to his blind spot. He's closing the distance first. Let's try to get into his toes, get into his cushion, and then let's give him a head fake inside to maybe get him to sit on the post. And you see, there's his safety help. Look how small this window is right here. If we had to run the post, what do you think we'd do? We'd go right to that blind spot, try to widen him so that turns into a bigger window. But when we have to run a fade, we're trying to make it look like that post. Try to make it look like to where these two guys will sit and we could slip behind, especially when it's this cover 3 look. So he closes space, gives a head fake inside. All we need is this DB to hesitate. But now it's not Mooney's way over here and the DB's over here with no space on the sideline. It's we're right on his toes. We got him to settle a little bit and I could slip behind his blind spot. That's how you run that fade against zone coverage, fellas. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. Great job by Mooney. And again, the quarterback's got to give you a good ball because this is a tough throw, but we just need to give him space with my route running, and I need to make sure that I get as much separation as possible with that vertical set move. That's the secret to route running, fellas, how you can run a fade versus zone. All right, fellas, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. We always appreciate the feedback. It's always great to hear from you guys. You guys' ideas, comments help keep this channel going, so we really appreciate it. And again, fellas, if you guys would like a recovery protein powder or recovery BCA supplement to help you guys recover faster after workouts, repair those broken down muscle tissues, help with soreness, everything, help with sleep, check out that very first link in the description below for A&G Labs recovery supplements. Use the promo code FIRST15 at checkout for 15% off any purchase, you guys. So very first link below. I'll see you guys next time.